Hey guys, I don't want to do a speed painting video where there is only music and people don't explain what's going on. I don't like those kind of videos. I think they're boring. So I'm gonna try to do something different. I want to talk through it. I want to explain something. So to create this piece, I created first a composition. I learned it from Ethan Sana. Basically, the only thing that I care about at this moment is the shape. I want to do interesting shapes. That is the only thing that I'm worried about. Sometimes it's help if you have a grid. This time I pulled out a grid from 3D Code. Maybe I will show you how to do that later. But now I'm establishing the light information. When I do this, I worry first about the shapes, and then I worry about the light and where the light is coming from. Adding the light of the top is important, the ambient light, and then I usually start adding the directional light. Yeah, so these compositions are I think that they are easy to do. It usually takes like a couple of minutes, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. I just started out the second one with custom shapes. I have a lot of custom shapes that I use. I don't remember from where I got the custom shape, but they are really useful. Sometimes when I don't know, when you don't feel like drawing the shapes yourself, you can grab something from the custom shapes and create something with that. This is more like an architectural piece. I had the idea of doing the light from the side. That painting that I show, it is on my artstation, and I created it the same process. I created the composition first, then I started to do the drawing and painting and the light information. Adding some reflections to the water. I'm not sure how reflections on the water works exactly. I know that the reflection gets darker and there are some reflections from the sky, but yeah. After doing this step, I wanted to create something. I wanted to practice my 3D again, so you will see me that after I finish this one, I'm going to jump into 3D. Alright, so there is a final composition on the bottom left side of the video. That is that was my base. I also had a lot of photo references that I got from the internet about biking vlogs, and I got a lot of references. So you will see that I'm putting a lot of effort on doing the rocks. Maybe I shouldn't. At the end, I didn't end up using the 3D too much. I mean, I use it to do the lighting and the shapes, but it wasn't like a very important thing. I mean, I changed a lot, so I think that I just wanted to practice 3D, and that's why I put a lot of effort to it. Yeah, it's really easy to do rocks and organic stuff. You will see me that I created a basic shapes and then I started to cut, and it is no problem. If you try to do that in ZBrush, the mesh is not going to behave exactly as you want it to, so it will be a mess and it will be slow. So that's why I use 3D Code a lot. You will see that. You see that selection light, that is to cut, and it's super easy. I know that ZBrush has the same tool to cut, but in 3D Code, because it is using voxels, not surfaces, it works perfectly. I'm doing a little bit of texturing right now. I'm basically wasting my time here because you don't see this part at the end. You don't see this on the final image. yeah, at least I could practice a little bit and creating more shapes. I I created a bunch of rocks that I could use. It's pretty easy. Um, it is relaxing to do, actually, to do this kind of stuff on 3D code. I find it 3D code to be like I don't know, the tool that works for me. I'm creating some variation from the same rocks right now. Basically, created one and distorted. I'm creating this because I saw a reference of a rock that had like a hole on the middle. I wanted to create one of those. I didn't end up using it in the final image because a friend of mine told me that it was calling for too much attention, so I decided to get rid of it. Now we are going to exporting and decimating all dimensions so that I can have the lowest resolution possible for the rocks, because I don't want the scene to be super heavy. So right now I'm jumping into Modo. This is where I usually do my rendering, my camera, all of that. Yeah, I'm creating the hills. Right now I struggled with the hills because I was using a wrong shape, but then I don't know, I think that I was paying too much attention to the chat and I wasn't thinking clearly, but I end up using like a square hill, something like that. Right now I'm separating the rocks because I want to move them separately. So yeah, I got this horse. I don't know, I don't remember where I got this horse, but it's a horse that I got from the internet. I'm trying to establish the composition now, where the elements are. I'm checking to see if I'm following my composition, and I noticed that I had the horizon line pretty high on the 3D, so I struggled for a bit to capture like the same camera from the composition, but I did it. I'm organizing the rocks. You see that that's why I separated them, because I wanted to be able to move them freely. I like to use Modo a lot. The modeling tools are amazing. See how I created like a more squarish shape, like a flattened shape, because I want it to be like a diagonal thing. So yeah, when I do in 3D, I don't care about the I don't care about the geometry, because I'm not going to use that for like a game or something like that. I'm just going to use the 3D as a tool for me to get the perspective. So yeah, I don't waste time worrying about if the geometry has triangles or angles and those kind of stuff. So yeah, I started to render right now. I saw a photo of an overcast day and I wanted to capture the same mood. So yeah, so I'm trying to match the composition right now. I'm checking if the composition is as close as possible to the thumbnail. Right now I'm jumping into basic colors, and to do the texturing of the rock, what I did is that I got a photo from the internet and I just pasted on top of the geometry and set it to solid. I'm not using UV maps. That is a waste of time, I think, at the moment. I did this to create a little video displacement map, but I didn't end up using it because honestly I don't think that I should have used 3D to do this painting, because it is very organic, and I could I think it wasn't necessary. I could have used only painting and photos and those kind of stuff, but it was a cool way to keep practicing my 3D. Right now I'm scaling a bit texturing, yeah, that's all. I spend a lot of time creating the shapes and trying to match my composition as close as possible. I'm using V-Ray for model. I'm not using the model render. That is something that I want to learn to use the most right now. I think that V-Ray, I don't know, it is more realistic, but but it is faster for me, so that's why I'm using it. About the materials, I'm not using crazy materials. I just using, for example, for the water, I just set it to add reflection, and that's all. I mean, I didn't spend too much time on grabbing the exact material. So right now, you see my camera. That is me. Hi, nice to meet you. Well, the first things that I do is that I separate everything. I have this render that is called Surface ID. It is really good to separate everything, because you can do like a normal selection, and I start to separate it. After that, I started to add a little bit of ambient occlusion, so in shadows on the back. I started like painting on top of the 3D image, but I didn't end up using that, honestly. So I grabbed some photos from I bought a photo pack from photobash.org, and I'm using that photo to do the mountains on the back. Right now I created like a cutout shape of the master reference, and I do a match color to make the colors like the reference that I have. I struggle a bit with the scale, but with the scale of the mountains, because if they are closer, obviously the trees should be bigger and those kind of stuff. I think that I fixed that at the end, at least. Painting a lot. It was like a struggle to integrate the photos nicely, but yeah, I did that. I spent a lot of time doing that, but at the end, I think it did pay off. And checking the composition, the 3D render, looking for another reference to add to the left side. If you notice there, the texture was really small compared to the ones on the right, so that I didn't end up using that one. I felt like on the back there has to be something interesting or something, because I don't know, it felt weird to have like a blank space there. I started painting the rocks. I had to do the rocks twice because I lost the file. My computer crashed and I had to paint that again, but at the end I think that the second one that I did looks better. The shapes looks more, I don't know, interesting, more simplified. You see the hole on the rock, and at the end I didn't left the hole because a friend told me that it was calling for too much attention, so I didn't use that. I did like a normal rock. Right there, I'm starting to do the rocks again. Don't worry, guys. I'm showing you that part because you have to keep going. I mean, you won't abandon a painting because you lost a file, right? Trying to simplify the shapes, doing the same thing with that rock, exactly the same. Doing like a little bit of photo washing and then paint on top of that. I wanted to add like a hard and soft edges to the rock because before I had only soft edges and it looks weird. So I started to add like hard edges too, so it looks and feels like a rock, not something soft, so soft. Remembering the light is very important when you are doing the things because you don't want to add photos that have the wrong light. That is the thing that with photo washing you want to add. You have to first pick up the right photo that has the right perspective and the right light direction. Those are the most important things. And doing the rocks on the left, I struggle with the rocks on the left, particularly that one that is big, because I don't know, I felt that like that rock was causing the mountains on the back to look small because it was taller. It was very tall. It was the taller rock of the composition. At the end, I end up deleting it, so no problem. No problem at all. And I didn't know what to do. It is good to take breaks. I didn't know what to do with that rock, but I ended up deleting it. I think it was the best decision. When I did that, I felt great. Talking to the chat. Talking to my brother. Right, so I was looking for some references of grass. I ended up using only one, but I'm showing the UG. That is the Wacom that I got. It's not a Wacom, but it's an UG tablet. It is really cool. I think that I'm going to do a review later. So to do the grass, I pasted the photo in, and then I created a mask and fill it with black, so it did show anything. But then I grabbed like a grass photo that I had and I paint on white, so it reveals the grass, the texture underneath with a grass brush, if that makes sense. I really like the light condition. It's like an overcast day, but with directional light. It's like a combination. The directional light is very subtle, but the overcast day is better, I think. I almost forgot to add the shadow, but I did it. I had a lot of fun painting the grass. You see me there experimenting and adding color variation to the brush that I had to create the grass. Saving is important. I was avoiding to the character for the longest time. Shaking the black and white is important. At that moment, I noticed that there wasn't a lot of contrast what the character is, but I figured that later. Fixing the shapes, adding a little bit of reflection. The only thing that I know from reflection is that they are a little bit darker. I need to, you know that there is a Fresnel effect, but I don't understand it really well. I mean, I understand what it does, but not when you are looking at a when you are looking at water from afar, you know. Espera el timer para cortar. So now I'm back. I'm adding some grass, painting, photographing. It's like a repeated thing, you know. I started to add some green grass coming through the water. Because I had like a master reference, I knew what I had to do basically. I was showing some of my older works on the internet from the people on the chat. I started to add like a little bit of texture to that rug to see if it looks more interesting. I added some yellows. I tried to repeat the yellows from the bag, and I think that it is a good color. It was a good color to add like a variation of the color. I don't know, like a texture thing. Started to refine the edges of the grass. Right now I'm looking for Vikings, not necessarily Vikings but horses, and Vikings with horses will be perfect, and I found the perfect one from this series, Vikings. Oh yeah, boy. It was perfect. You will see me there doing the guy. Oh, I will do that later. I started to play a little bit more with the rocks, avoiding to the guy on the horse first. Right there, I'm paying attention to tangents. I don't want to have a lot of tangents. I mean, if I see a tangent, I will delete it because I don't want the tangents to draw too much attention to itself. I want the attention to be on the character and on the objects on the back. Right there, I'm grabbing different mountains photos and trying to do the variation, because I noticed that the texture was really small, so I grabbed some photos and with different texture size and started to photograph them together. You see me there adding the yellow part. I don't know. I'm going to delete that rug soon. See me there adding even textures to that rug. Struggling.
That I'm totally fucked. You know, everything's fucked.
I need to remember that when I'm struggling with something, just delete it. It will be better. It was competing. I don't know. It didn't work. But yeah. Refining the atmospheric perspective there. Saving the file is important because I lost file. Painting the rock. You see me there, finally I deleted the rock. Started to refine the grass. My computer died there again. Right now I'm trying to, because it looks very messy on some parts. I don't know, it doesn't look integrated. I started to experiment with some brushes. It is a good idea to have a separated window to see your work. You see the work in small because you can see the mistakes easily. Or easier. It is an easier way to see the mistakes because you see the bigger picture. I work with zoom a lot, so I need that. Checking values is important too. I need to get better with values for sure. Right there, I'm trying to add like soft and hard edges, refining the edges of the rocks. I think of the 3D just like a line drawing with cool light and cool shapes. You see me there adding the horses, and that one fits perfectly for what I was looking for. You see me there, I cut it out, and I tried with that one too, but it didn't work, so I stick to that one. The thing with that photo is that it has the wrong light direction, so I had to paint the light direction in. That is a technique that I use a lot. I have like the perfect photo with the perfect perspective. It is not easy to find, but when you find, it is much quick. It's quicker to work that way. I grab the photo and just paint on top of it. I add whatever I want. Some crazy photo of horses, people falling down. I was laughing at myself because I thought to make the guy falling down from the horse. That would be stupid, but it would be funny. Pulling some references for the costume. Painting the hair, the cloak. I wanted to use a shield, but because I added like a dark cloak, I didn't use the shield. But I added a flag. I used a flag. Doing some final touches. The noise, the playing with the edges, a little bit of noise. So yeah, that is the painting. If you like the painting and you like the process that I show in this video, go to my Twitch channel. I don't know, you can ask questions, you can whatever, man. See you there. Thanks for watching.